This is The Wire for 2300 Zulu, September 5th, 2025. Precedence is routine. Information cutoff is 2200. Bottom line up front. Venezuelan aircraft conduct flight over U.S. Navy ships, prompting U.S. response. British cabinet shuffles personnel following resignation of Deputy Prime Minister due to tax evasion scandal. U.S.-India relations deteriorate after Chinese defense summit. Beginning with international events, in Germany, concern is growing regarding the sudden deaths of several politicians and candidates from the Alternative for Deutschland or AfD party. Local party officials have reported that 7 candidates have died unexpectedly 2 weeks before the next round of elections on September 14th. Analysts comment. German authorities have stated that 2 of the deaths were from natural causes, however the others have not been explained. Independent verification is not possible at this time as government and party officials are withholding the names of the deceased for reasons of family privacy. In the United Kingdom, several high-level positional changes have taken place throughout the British government following the departure of Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner. This morning, Yvette Cooper announced her resignation from the Home Office, with Shabana Mahmood taking her place as Home Secretary. Cooper will become the Foreign Secretary, and David Lammy, the former Foreign Secretary, is to become Deputy Prime Minister. Analysts comment. This reshuffling is largely due to several scandals that have plagued Starmer's government for several months. From the migrant crisis to internal corruption scandals, the last straw was the discovery that Angela Rayner had not paid property taxes on one of her residences, which totaled roughly £40,000 worth of tax evasion. This rapidly snowballed into a big scandal, especially since she had previously called out the tax loopholes utilized by other politicians in the past. In the Caribbean, yesterday 2 Venezuelan F-16s conducted an overflight of the U.S. Navy task force currently conducting operations in the southern Caribbean Sea. In response to this action, this morning the Pentagon announced the deployment of 10 F-35 fighter aircraft to Puerto Rico. This forward deployment will be conducted to allegedly engage in kinetic targeting of narcotics trafficking platforms, and also to provide more air-to-air targeting capabilities in the region. Analysts comment. As expected, the situation has escalated. The deployment of F-35s usually points to one possibility, an expansion of the conflict. More specifically, F-35s would not be needed to target simple narco vessels, but would be a satisfactory platform for engaging more substantial threats such as the F-16s the U.S. sold to the Venezuelan military back in the 1980s. On the home front in Washington, D.C., relations between the U.S. and India have deteriorated somewhat over the past few days, following the trade negotiations that have been ongoing for some time. Earlier this week, China hosted the Shanghai Cooperation Organization or SCO summit, which coincided with a visit by President Vladimir Putin and Prime Minister Modi. This summit resulted in India reaffirming their desire to strengthen ties with their fellow BRICS partners instead of growing ties with the United States. This in turn led to a worsening of relations with the United States, and the White House taking a more hardball approach to trade negotiations with India. After the display of friendship between India and China, President Trump has floated the idea of blocking American tech companies from outsourcing work to India. Analyst comments for this wire. There is another angle to the deteriorating U.S.-India relations that is worthy of note. Brief scandal erupted on social media yesterday as multiple influential accounts were discovered to be posting suspiciously pro-India content in response to the White House making statements that relations between the U.S. and India were deteriorating due to India's alignment with China. Grifting on social media is hardly a new or noteworthy concept, nor is this the first time within the past few months that this has happened. However, in the current era of social media carrying a lot of weight when it comes to national policy, this is something to be aware of. Many people will chastise legacy media for being propaganda outlets while praising independent media as the truth. The White House press corps was even modified to add a seat for social media influencer access a few months ago, and after the Binder scandal, it is very clear that this influence can't be ignored. However, in some cases, it turns out that many sources, which have the ear of the president himself, are quite literally being paid secretly by foreign powers in violation of the Foreign Agents Registration Act. This concludes The Wire for 2300 Zulu, September 5th, 2025.